Netflix isn't just the land of vapid originals and diabolical Adam Sandler vehicles. There are some really great films hidden away if you know what you're looking for. Here are 5 hidden gems on Netflix as of July 2020. Blue Ruin is an unconventional revenge thriller in the literal sense, being almost unbearably tense for most of its runtime. Macon Blair gives a sympathetic and engaging performance as Dwight, an ordinary man out of his depth. He offers great work in shading the character somewhere in the gap between hero and villain, and appears in almost every scene of the film. After an almost tranquil start, which serves as an effective introduction to our main character, events rapidly spin out of control, with an inexorable tension that refuses to let go. This is not one for the faint of heart. The bungling ineptitude on display is sometimes reminiscent of Fargo, although without the humour that is used to offer the audience relief in that film. Blue Ruin is grim, smart and morally grey. It is grounded and realistic and does not fall back on tried Hollywood tropes. The film has an atmospheric soundtrack and makes interesting and effective use of sound to accentuate Dwight's state of mind. Made after a Kickstarter campaign asking for just $35,000, the film ended up grossing just shy of $1 million worldwide and won a prize at the Cannes Film Festival. It met with almost universal acclaim from film critics and has a 96% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Blockers is a raucous coming-of-age comedy in the mould of American Pie, but with the genders flipped. This time we follow 3 girls out to have a wild prom night. The twist here is that this time the girls' parents get wind of their plans and decide to throw a spanner in the works. This is by no means the most highbrow or artistic entry on this list, but it is a whole lot of fun and still scored a respectable 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. The adult group features the ever-reliable Leslie Mann of Knocked Up and This Is 40 fame, alongside a surprisingly funny and revealing performance from John Cena. Ike Barinholtz, though, is probably the standout amongst the grown-ups, a schlubby, estranged father hunter. The younger cast features a breakout performance from Geraldine Viswanathan, who went on to star with Daniel Radcliffe and Steve Buscemi in the sitcom Miracle Workers. She has great comic timing and elevates the portions of the film featuring the high school characters. The rest of the young cast are all solid too, including Catherine Newton from Big Little Lies. The script is smart if crude, but still full of heart. They actually seem to have spent time writing most of the jokes, rather than just relying on ad-libs from the actors. There are some great set pieces and a couple of pretty surprising cameos. Most importantly, the film is full of genuine laughs and doesn't outstay its welcome at only 1 hour 40 minutes. Whilst not being quite the same league as recent Last Day of School classics Superbad and Booksmart, it is sure to make you laugh out loud. Given the horrible standard of many of the other comedies on Netflix, this alone makes it worthy of note. You'll never hear a bad word about Jason Statham on this channel, and 2012's Safe is a much underrated entry in his efforts as a leading man. Whilst it isn't as funny as Crank or as inventive with the action as The Transporter, it offers something in a department most of Statham's films are less gifted in: the plot. Instead of just travelling from one location to another punching a succession of nameless goons, here we actually have a pretty interesting story to follow. Statham is an ex-cop and an ex-cage fighter with a mysterious past. He finds himself protecting a 12-year-old girl who was mixed up in a war between dirty cops, the Russian mob and the Chinese triads. The role of protector suits Statham and gives the film an emotional through line that is much more satisfying than the vague motivations in many other films of this type. Of course, the action is the most important element of this kind of film, and Safe doesn't let the side down. Brutal and at times imaginative, Statham is good value as ever. Safe makes great use of its New York location with car and subway chases and visits to high-end hotels and Chinatown dives. This is still very much B-movie fare, guilty of cliché dialogue on occasion. It's played completely straight too, so anyone hoping for the lighter tone of Statham's more recent work might be disappointed. But for anyone jonesing for a dose of the Stath, this is very much worth checking out. Safety Not Guaranteed is a quirky and endearing comedy from Colin Trevorrow, who went on to direct the Jurassic Park reboots. A journalist and 2 interns decide to investigate a classified ad that reads, "Wanted. Someone to go back in time with me. This is not a joke. Must bring your own weapons. I've done this only once before. Safety not guaranteed." It stars Aubrey Plaza from Parks and Recreation, Jake Johnson from New Girl, Mark Duplass from The League, and Karan Soni from Deadpool. All of them give great performances, particularly Duplass, who does a fine job lending vulnerability to a character that would have been easy to play too broadly. It has a great script, particularly the dialogue, which feels smart and natural but still funny. The film is amusing and full of heart and mixes genres deftly, seamlessly moving between comedy, romance and mystery. Safety Not Guaranteed won a prize at the 2012 Sundance Film Festival and has a 91% score on Rotten Tomatoes. The Night Comes for Us is another crazy action film coming out of Indonesia. The Raid and its sequel set a new high bar for action movies, and The Night Comes for Us follows firmly in its footsteps and features many familiar faces for fans of those films. It follows a member of the Triad's elite hit squad who balks at his latest orders and goes on the run. It stars a charismatic and talented Iko Uwais from both of the Raid movies, who, if there is any justice, will become the premier martial arts star in the world. Alongside him is Joe Taslim, who plays the police sergeant in the first film. He provides a strong central presence in both acting and the fight scenes. Julia Stell, who was Hammer Girl in The Raid 2, also stars as an enigmatic third party. This is a brutal martial arts thriller that throws action scenes at you faster than you can take them in. It's just so unbelievably crammed full of ridiculous, over-the-top violence. Highlights include a 35-minute long action sequence in a block of flats and a 21-minute pair of final duels to cap the film. Not one for the squeamish, the violence is unrelenting and gory, but depicted with a light touch that makes for a joyfully entertaining movie. The Night Comes for Us scored an impressive 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Hopefully one of these films have piqued your interest, and if so, please press those like and subscribe buttons. If you watch or have already seen any of these films, please let us know what you thought in the comments.